Welcome into another edition of HBD Sports. Today we're back with our good buddy Clyde, and we're going to talk about the state of the wrestling industry. What's up, Clyde?
Not a lot, buddy. Just moving around. Looking forward to our conversation here.
So, right away, I guess we'll just hop right into what I was wanting to talk about today. No point in keeping the people waiting. Did you see Tye Dillinger? I guess this is true. He's asked for his requested his release from the WWE.
Yeah, I seen that, man, and I thought he was a credit to the wrestling business. At one time, the guy was over. I mean, he was more over than most of them, maybe any of them, maybe for a week or two. You know, a lot of people might not remember, but it was one of those Royal Rumbles, and I believe he was still in NXT, but the people had a feeling that he was going to be number 10. So they were doing that 10 all night. Then he came out to an unbelievable pop. I'm not sure what happened, man. I feel like they dropped the ball a little bit with this guy.
I feel like that was like the last, like that was like the biggest night of Dillinger's career almost, because like since then it's pretty much been nothing but downhill for the guy.
Yeah, he's been completely lost in the shuffle. And
what was that? I think it was 2016?
You might be correct. I'm not sure.
I think it was, yeah.
We can look in the archives and figure it out for sure.
So what I was thinking was like, you know, back in the 80s, everybody had like a territory pretty much, you know, before WWE formed its monopoly. And some wrestlers would just travel around from territory to territory, you know? And, sorry, you gotta excuse the beeping there. And so, like, for example, like Andre, you know, he would travel around from territory to territory, and he never really got, you know, as stale in one territory. And so now, like with Tye Dillinger, for example, right? Like, WWE kind of used him as best they could in NXT, and he was there for quite a long time. But once he came to SmackDown, they really never found a place for him, and he kind of got lost in the shuffle. And back in the 80s, like, they would have just sent a guy like that to another territory for a while, and who knows, he might have, you know, rejuvenated his career on his own. But it's just kind of tough for him to do now because he's just in this contract, and there's just really not a lot of face time for him.
Yeah, it's just, I guess it would fall on booking or the writers. I'm not sure about the guys. You know, a lot of times there could be personality clashes. I'm not sure what kind of guy he is outside of the ring. So sometimes that plays into effect.
Everything I've read about him, he's a class act. All the former wrestlers, all the wrestlers, his, I guess, former co-workers at this point have supported him on like Twitter and Instagram and stuff. So.
Oh, okay.
So what do you think about the territories, though? Like, do you think, like, when the territories kind of died off, which they basically have, I mean, there's still some little stuff, but, you know, it kind of just gave guys less options, and guys kind of get trapped and lost in the shuffle like Dillinger. I mean, I think that's one thing that territories, you know, definitely had over this monopolized wrestling type deal.
Yeah, for sure. You could have took a guy like Tye Dillinger, and you could have sent him up to Stu Hart's up there in Canada, and the guy could have been the face of that whole company, you know. That's what kind of star power I believe that he had. So I can see what you're saying there.
So I'm still seeing these rumors that the Usos are like leaving or being released or requesting to leave or something. I mean, what have you heard about that?
I heard the same rumors on that, and then I know one of the Usos had some issues outside the ring. I don't want to go into those too much, but I don't think the WWE wants to lose them, man. They look at the Usos as family, basically. There was a time when they were trying to sell Samoa Joe on Vince McMahon, and he said, well, he's just a fat Samoan. And then, you know, and they was like, well, wasn't Yokozuna and wasn't Rikishi? And he said, oh, they're family. So I think these guys get a Randy Orton. They get a Randy Orton pass, I think.
So you think that's just more just rumors then? You don't think there's anything substantial to the Usos leave? I mean, I think that too. Like, when I think about the Usos, like, I just think about them just being WWE. So I couldn't really see them leaving, but in this new AEW climate, you never know nowadays, you know?
Yeah, because they're ready to play ball, man. That's already been proven with Jericho and Omega and these rumors about Dean Ambrose, the rumors about the Usos, the Revival. I think WWE's in, I don't want to say panic mode, but I want to say they're in anybody that should and needs to be and deserves it. We're going to go ahead and let them shine instead of pushing them to the side.
So, what about Cena? Is he going to have a match this year at WrestleMania? What do you think?
I really hope so, man. You know, I'm a big John Cena mark. I know that'll probably get a lot of hate, but you know, it is what it is. I really hope so, man. I mean, he's been the face of WWE. He's been the Hulk Hogan and Stone Cold of this generation. But in my humble opinion, he's did a better job as a spokesman than Hogan, Austin, actually anybody. That's just my opinion. I think he's
I agree wholeheartedly about the spokesman part. I think he has been a great face for the company. I don't necessarily think the hardcore wrestling fans have loved seeing his run over all the years, but I think as far as for the PG era, once they kind of transitioned away from all that, he was the perfect face for the company, and he did exactly what he needed to do. I mean, I'm sure that's part of why Vince let him have that last title run. And what did he break, or tie Flair's record with that last one?
I believe he's tied with the record. But if you ask Ric Flair, I believe he won the championship 23 times or something like that.
Well, Ric Flair counts the match on the airplane that time too, so we can't.
That's right. Yeah, you're right.
We can't necessarily go by his numbers there.
He's got a birthday coming up, man. They're going to celebrate that on Raw. You know, Becky Lynch is going to be a part of that somehow.
Yeah, definitely. That's going to be cool. What do you think about DX going into the Hall of Fame?
I like it. I like that Shawn's going in there. I like that Triple H and X-Pac and the New Age Outlaws. I love, and I was pleasantly surprised that Chyna is going in because she deserves to go in. They should have done it, you know, while she was still around, and unfortunately, we lost her to her demons, you know.
Yeah,
but, I'm really happy about that, man. I'm looking forward to seeing their speech and the whole deal.
So, yeah, I think the Chyna thing's awesome. I feel like you said, she should have been in there a long time ago. I mean, she was one of the staples of the Attitude Era, in my opinion. You know, she was. She definitely belongs in the Hall of Fame. She probably should have went in as a solo performer, but I mean, it's still just cool to see her finally just given some recognition by the company, which is long overdue, in my opinion.
Yeah, when she was a babyface, man, she was as over as anybody at one time. So it's going to be very interesting. There's also rumors, nothing confirmed, that the Hart Foundation, the original Bret Hart, Anvil, and Jimmy Hart could be going in. I really, really hope that's true. I mean, you know my position with those guys.
Yeah, you might like them just a little bit.
Yeah, just a little bit.
So, yeah. Like, I've been reading around the web today, and like, evidently, according to Sportskeeda, before the Young Bucks, you know, made this deal with AEW and all this stuff came to life, like, WWE was hot trying to sign these guys, and they made them like a huge offer, and they still turned it down, you know, to do this AEW. So I think that's even more impressive.
Yeah, this could be interesting, and you know, everybody's saying, you know, it's going to be like the Monday Night Wars again. This could actually be better, man, because a lot of this creative is going to be coming from Cody and the Young Bucks. These guys got a lot of experience already of pushing merch and pushing angles and building stars, you know. I've been doing this for a while.
The word that Cody kept using during the press conference that I seen a couple weeks ago was fresh, and I don't think he could. If he'd sum it up with one word, that's the best word to use. That's what people want to see. That's what he wants to unveil to the world, and I think that's what's going to happen. You know, so
I can't wait, man. It's gonna be back like you never know who's going to show up on whose show. It's going to be like that again, I think, really soon.
So we was talking about Dillinger a few minutes ago, and like the WWE dropping the ball with people. Like, who else do you think they've kind of gotten it wrong with in recent history? Who else could you see maybe not being satisfied Yeah, we're just speculating here. This is nothing but speculation. But who else do you think they haven't properly pushed?
I feel like Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson.
I thought you was going to say Luke Harper. I was going to say I don't necessarily think Luke Harper should be the champion, but I definitely think Luke Harper could be a really good singles competitor.
With Luke, a lot of times, unfortunately, the guy, he has some injuries, and it's bound to happen. It is professional wrestling. So it's like they get hot with him, and then they're kind of forced to get cold because he can't be there. I feel like they did okay with him. He was Intercontinental Champion there for a bit.
So you feel like they kind of dropped the ball with Gallows and Anderson?
Big time, man. I feel like these guys are. I've watched them on, little shows on the network. Man, these are funny, charming, intelligent men, and I think they're really underrated wrestlers also. And
when they came into the company a couple years ago, they was so over with the crowd because of the the whole Bullet Club thing. They rode that momentum right back into the WWE for Gallows at least, and yeah, they've kind of dropped the ball with them as they have a lot of people. They kind of gave them an initial push when they got there, and then they've basically buried them for the better part of 2 years now, and here we are.
Yeah, it's bound to happen, and it's unfortunate, man, but it's kind of, and I think even the guys we're talking about know it. It's kind of the nature of the beast. Vince McMahon.
Not everybody can win every week.
Yeah, he gets hot. He gets real hot on people, and then he cools off, and he might go back to it. It's going to be interesting, man. That's a great time to be a fan of professional wrestling, for sure.
I haven't had this much these past few weeks, and I know AEW hasn't even. I don't know if they even own a wrestling ring yet, like Jericho said, but these last few weeks have been the most exciting time since like 97, 98, 99, right in there, for me personally.
Well, I remember when me and you first met. It was in the 90s, and our conversations, they're starting to mirror those of the excitement, like what's going to happen. It's like the surprise element's coming back.
It is. It definitely is.
Hopefully with the internet, it doesn't ruin everything, and they keep some of this tight-lipped. But even if it gets out there, it's going to be interesting. News about guys switching companies.
So what do you think about these two guys? Like, here's a couple of guys that, and you don't have to look very far online to find rumors of these guys not being used right in WWE, who had awesome momentum. Rusev, Shinsuke Nakamura, both guys in the last 18 months possibly, I mean, they each had their stints where they were each maybe the hottest guys in the company, and as of now, they're just both kind of just, I would call them like mid-card wrestlers. I mean,
yeah, I think they're on the way out the door, man. I think they're gonna. Nakamura might even go back to New Japan. Rusev could end up in AEW, or who knows? He might go to New Japan. You never know.
I think Rusev should have been competing with the likes of AJ Styles and Randy Orton and such for the championship for the last year. The Rusev Day gimmick was the most over thing of the year. It was the hottest thing. The crowd hasn't been that hot for a gimmick since the Jericho and Kevin Owens angle, in my opinion.
Yeah, he was on fire, man, and I don't know if it was outside things again. I know there was some controversy about some pictures of him and Lana, and I don't know if that kind of hurt him a little, but crowd reaction, unbelievable, man. I mean, the guy was on fire. They could have printed money with this guy, started printing money. Right,
and then it just seemed like as soon as they get something going good, like they're just in such a hurry to move on to the next thing that they just, like before you can even get the merchandise even out on the shelves, the whole Rusev Day thing's over. And it was over with the crowd, and then it was just over, period. So I just don't understand, sometimes I just don't get it, the whole, I guess, the creative thought process, maybe.
A lot of it is Vince, man, because, it's his final say, and, my second favorite podcast, ours been my first, but my second favorite podcast, the Bruce Pritchard Show, because he was around Vince for a long time, and he's mentioned on there how Vince will do that, man. He'll be real hot on somebody, and then he'll just cool off. And sometimes there's no explanation. Vince just says next, basically. Next.
He just flips the pillow over. He's just cool as the other side of the pillow, and he's just done with them, huh?
Yeah, instead of extra pepperoni, he might want pineapples, you know? Who knows?
Right.
With this guy sometimes, man.
Well, Clyde, I appreciate you joining us again today. It's always fun. We can sit here and talk for hours, but I know you've got things to do. I do as well, so we're going to go ahead and put a bow on this. You got anything you want to say before we hop out of here?
Just check us out. This will be on YouTube. And if any of you guys out there have Facebook, we'll be sharing it on some of our affiliates that are on Facebook. Becky Lynch Mobless, Army, Hitman Hart, Kofi Kingston Club, I Heart Pro Wrestling, and WWF LJ Maniacs.
All right, yeah, everybody, that's going to do it for this edition. Thanks for joining us, and we'll talk to you soon.